I walked into Jack's office expecting good news. My heart was racing, but it wasn't fear. I'd led a massive campaign to success the month before. Rumors swirled that I'd be named the youngest VP in the company's history. Jack leaned back, eyes cold. "LyLye, I can't have you leading anymore. You're not in the right condition." I blinked, trying to interpret his words. He didn't mince them for long. "You're pregnant. You'll be distracted. It's not the right optics for key clients. They want energy." I felt my stomach drop. My face burned hot. I glanced at my belly and then at him. "Wait, you're demoting me?" My voice caught in my throat. Jack shrugged like it was nothing. "It's just temporary," he said. "We have to maintain our brand image." When he finished, my mind was spinning. He didn't even try to hide it. I stood slowly, heart hammering. Opening the door, I froze. At least 4 coworkers were lined up outside, eyes darting away. They knew something big had happened. I managed to leave with my head held high, but deep inside I felt stunned. The world had suddenly flipped, and everyone was watching. The next morning, everything felt different. My desk, once a bustling hub for questions and teamwork, became a silent island. People drifted by, offering quick nods or forced smiles. The tension was thick. I grabbed coffee in the break room and a hush fell as soon as I walked in. Whispers floated behind me. She got demoted. Because of the pregnancy? I heard they replaced her already. Then I saw who took my spot. Preston, a junior associate I'd trained for a year. He looked sheepish at first, maybe even guilty. But when he caught me watching, his expression hardened into forced confidence. I realized he was playing along with Jack's plan. No apologies, no regret. I returned to my desk and noticed how messy everything looked. My files, my projects, all scattered. Someone had rifled through them. A coworker, Ava, quietly slipped me a note as she passed. "I'm sorry." That was it, but it was something. I pretended to refocus on emails. Anger rumbled inside me, but I forced calm. I had to keep my composure, at least for now. All the small stares and tense conversations told me one thing. My demotion was the hottest gossip, and it was only beginning. 2 days later, we had a company-wide town hall. I was still on edge, anxious about facing everyone. Jack strode on stage with fake enthusiasm. "Let's celebrate our restructuring," he announced, a smug grin on his face. "It's all about new energy and leadership." He went on and on about transition support without once mentioning my name. But everyone knew. Their glances burned my back. I tried to stay calm in my seat, hands pressed tight together. Then he praised our team champions for doubling a client's revenue. That was my project. My plan, my sleepless nights. I waited for him to acknowledge me, but no, he never said LyLye. He was erasing me in front of everyone, highlighting Preston as the driving force behind the success. Inside, my heart sank. Embarrassment bloomed into anger. I felt tears threaten, but I held them back. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing me break. At the end of his speech, the applause was polite, nothing more. A pit formed in my stomach. This was a systematic effort to push me aside, and I knew I had to keep my emotions in check because something bigger was brewing. The humiliation was real, but so was my determination. A week passed, and I tried to ignore the office chatter. I immersed myself in leftover tasks, hoping for normalcy. Then I saw Preston's LinkedIn post, beaming with photos from a fancy client dinner the night before. The usual suspects were there. Jack, the executives, and the biggest client, Monica Cho. Monica and I had built that account from scratch. She was hands-on, but she trusted me completely. I felt a lump in my throat. I wasn't just sidelined, I was purposefully excluded. On the post, Preston wrote, "Amazing dinner with our top client, Monica Cho. Grateful for the opportunity." My vision blurred with anger. If it weren't for me, he wouldn't even know Monica. She'd always made it clear that I should attend any major meeting or dinner. That was her rule. I checked my email inbox. No invitation, no heads up. Then a memory flashed. Monica had once said to me, "I want you in every meeting, no matter what." Something was wrong. I felt sick. Jack's plan to remove me was in full swing, and they'd intentionally cut me out of the company's most important event. The day dragged on, but tension crackled inside me. This wasn't just a demotion. It was a total erasure. Late that afternoon, my phone buzzed. It was a direct message from Monica on LinkedIn. "Hey, LyLye, why weren't you at the dinner last night? Everything okay?" I stared at my screen, heart pounding. I could sense her concern. Monica wasn't just a client. She was someone who respected me, who'd trusted me for years. It hurt to be excluded from the dinner she specifically asked me to attend. I hesitated, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Should I tell her the truth? Finally, I typed, "Ask your vendor." It felt cryptic, but I couldn't risk saying more. Not yet. I hit send, expecting a quick response, but nothing came. Minutes stretched into an hour, then 2. My nerves buzzed. I wanted to explain everything, but it wasn't safe to lay it all out over a quick DM. Not when I was still inside Jack's domain. Her silence weighed on me, yet it also sparked hope. Monica was direct. If something bothered her, she addressed it, and if she was pressing Jack for answers, that might be my chance. Even though I had no clue what she'd do, I felt a twinge of possibility flicker in my chest. Maybe I wasn't alone in this fight. In the days after Monica messaged me, the company seemed to shift gears. Jack started rewriting our internal protocols. Everything from client communication to project approvals now had to run through him or Preston. I watched helplessly as my past initiatives were rebranded, like they'd never been mine. A slideshow I'd created for a potential sponsor was suddenly redone, with my name replaced by team management. One morning, Ava, the coworker who'd given me the note, whispered that the rumor mill said I'd be out within weeks. "They're setting you up to be forgotten," she warned. Her face showed genuine worry. "They want no trace of your contributions." A nervous chill spread through me. It felt like a staged takedown, each step carefully orchestrated by Jack. The more I observed, the more I realized how thorough he was. He was dismantling my role, piece by piece, and grooming Preston to take full credit for every success I'd built. That evening, before I left, I noticed my desk drawers were slightly open. Again, my files rummaged through. Fear and anger mixed like a bitter taste in my mouth. But I was too angry to back down. They wanted me gone? I'd give them something to remember first. I tried keeping it together, tried to be professional. But one evening, after staying late to tidy up some leftover projects, I walked to my car and suddenly couldn't breathe. My chest felt heavy, my eyes blurred. I sank into the driver's seat and locked the door. Tears poured out, and I gripped the steering wheel. It wasn't just about a job or a title. It was about my dignity. I'd given a decade of my life to this company, sacrificed weekends, birthdays, and holidays. And now, I was tossed aside like damaged goods because I was pregnant. Memories flooded me. The late nights pushing through marketing proposals, the times I fixed Jack's mistakes while he took all the credit. The unfairness crushed me. My baby kicked, maybe sensing my stress, and that only sharpened the pain. I wiped my tears, realizing I couldn't let them break me. This was betrayal, yes, but I had options. I wasn't powerless. Slowly, I turned on the ignition. The headlights illuminated the dark parking lot, reflecting my determination. Enough was enough. Driving home, I let the anger fuel my thoughts. I would find a way to fight back, to protect my baby's future and my own. This wasn't over. The next morning, I woke up early, memories still haunting me. I recalled my earliest days at the firm, a timid 21-year-old intern fresh from college, thrilled by the chance to work with a rising marketing company. My mentor back then was a seasoned strategist who encouraged me to dream big. Over the years, I proved myself at every opportunity. I took on crisis projects, rebranded failing accounts, and even traveled cross-country to patch up broken client relationships. Those were brutal weeks, endless flights and hotel rooms, but I loved the rush of solving problems. When Jack stepped in as CEO, he saw my potential. So I thought. He gave me more responsibilities. I fixed his sloppy pitches, reorganized chaotic budgets, and boosted the company's profit margins. Each success felt like a step closer to a deserved seat at the big table. The memory of Jack smiling at my wedding, congratulating me on balancing it all, now felt like a lie. He only valued me when I could give him something. The second I needed any grace, like the right to be pregnant, he turned on me. I pushed away the heartbreak, focusing instead on the truth. My rise was earned. My strength was real. And he couldn't erase that. That day at the office, I decided to do more than just hold my ground. I started documenting everything. Every email from Jack, every casual comment, every meeting note, saved on a private drive. I wanted a record of how I'd been treated. I backed up my original project files, the ones that proved my leadership. Dates, drafts, final versions. I kept it all. Nobody would steal my achievements and rewrite history if I could help it. If they planned on erasing my name, I'd make sure I had the receipts. I also started a personal log. Times, dates, remarks, even body language. It felt oddly empowering, like I was preparing for a grand showdown. My mind raced with possibilities of legal action or at least public exposure. A few colleagues noticed me working meticulously at my desk. One even asked, "You preparing for a new campaign?" I just smiled, kept it vague. I was done oversharing. The day ended quietly. I left with a stack of digital evidence in my locked flash drive. In my heart, I felt a small spark of hope. Maybe I couldn't stop what Jack had already done, but I could build a solid path toward my own brand of justice. Word must have reached Jack that I wasn't going to roll over. I got called into HR first thing the next morning. Natasha, the head of HR, placed a fresh stack of papers in front of me. "LyLye, we need you to sign these updated terms of employment," she said in a too-sweet tone. I skimmed the pages. They'd included a new NDA clause that basically gagged me from discussing anything about my demotion, the office environment, or internal restructuring with anyone, client or otherwise. I set the documents aside, meeting Natasha's gaze. "What happens if I don't sign?" She hesitated, then feigned a gentle smile. "We'd hate for there to be complications with your position, especially in your condition." That last word stung. Condition. Like my pregnancy was a disease, not a celebration. I inhaled. Sharply. "I'm not signing anything," I told her. A flicker of fear crossed her eyes, but she quickly masked it. Jack must have been watching from somewhere, because an hour later, he cornered me in his office. "You're ungrateful," he snarled. "I've supported you for years. Now you're making this difficult?" I stood firm, heart pounding. I refused to bend, and I knew he'd only escalate from here. The following week, I came into the office to find a small, unmarked envelope on my desk. No note, no name, just a plain USB stick inside. Nerves jolted through me. Who sent this? Was it some kind of trick from Jack to scare me? I slipped it into my laptop, headphones in, and opened the single audio file. My eyes went wide as I listened. It was a recording of Jack speaking in a closed executive session. His voice was unmistakable, the arrogance all too familiar. "LyLye's pregnant. She's a PR risk," he said, laughing. "Clients want fresh faces, not someone waddling around, risking a meltdown." My stomach clenched. His words cut deeper than anything I'd imagined. There were muffled voices of other execs in the background, some even chuckling in agreement. It confirmed everything I suspected about how he truly saw me. After the file ended, I pulled the USB out, hands shaking. Whoever sent this to me was taking a huge risk, but they must have believed I'd use it wisely. I locked the recording away, labeled it insurance, and stored it in my personal stash. I wasn't sure what my next move was, but I knew one thing. Now, I had proof. With the recording safely stored, I felt a shift in my confidence. Jack believed I was cornered, but he had no idea I was quietly gathering ammunition. I started reaching out to old colleagues who'd left the company, people who still respected me. I also reconnected with past clients, ones I'd successfully managed before. Though I kept the conversation light, I hinted at potential changes in my career. The responses were overwhelmingly supportive. Some asked if I was planning to move on. Others promised they'd follow me if I ever launched something of my own. Meanwhile, I watched Jack parade Preston around as the new face of the firm. Their leadership updates went out to every department, highlighting exciting changes. But behind the scenes, I heard rumblings of discontent. Staff noticed how abrupt and fishy the shifts were. Ava discreetly let me know that HR was rummaging through my historical files. They wanted to see if they could tarnish my record. Luckily, I'd already secured everything that mattered. Each day, I pretended to be just another demoted staffer. But inside, I was a silent storm. I had the email logs, the audio recording, and a network of supporters. If Jack thought he'd won, he was about to be blindsided. I woke up one morning to an article in Forbes about the brilliant new strategies saving the company millions of dollars. I recognized every highlight. It was my big project from last quarter, the one I'd poured my soul into. Yet the article credited Preston as the mastermind, with Jack providing visionary leadership. I felt a strange sense of calm as I read it. Part of me wanted to scream, but another part just smiled. It was so blatant, so outrageous, that it crossed a line. If Jack thought publicly erasing me was smart, he was underestimating my patience. I saved the article, adding it to my growing folder of evidence. Then I forwarded it to a few allies along with a note. Just so you see what's happening. That day, I walked into the office, forcing a polite smile. Inside, I was done playing nice. If Jack wanted a battle, he had it. He'd hijacked my work, destroyed my title, and disrespected my high pregnancy. He was about to find out that the quiet ones are the most dangerous when pushed too far. I calmly logged into my computer, typed a few strategic emails, and checked my phone. My next moves were in motion. Jack would never see them coming. Late that afternoon, a text from Monica lit up my phone. I asked Jack why you weren't at the dinner. He had no real answer. Something's off. Are you okay? I breathed in deeply. So Monica did press him. And if she felt something's off, I was pretty sure she was furious. She knew me well enough to sense I wouldn't miss that dinner without a reason. Moments later, she texted again. I spoke to the board. I told them no renewal without you, period. My heart soared. Monica was the biggest client by far, nearly 40% of the firm's revenue. A renewal from her meant major stability. Jack banked on that every quarter. I stared at the messages, stunned. She was standing up for me. I quickly typed back, "Thank you, but be careful. Jack is unpredictable." She replied with one word, "Handled." If Monica followed through, Jack's entire empire would quake. I felt my adrenaline spike. This was it, the break I needed. Someone with real power had spoken up for me. And once the main client threatened to walk, no fancy executive spin would cover up the truth. Jack was about to learn the cost of underestimating a pregnant strategist and an angry client. The next morning, the office buzzed with anxiety. Whispers about an urgent executive meeting circulated. I slipped into an empty conference room and opened a covert Zoom link that Ava had set up. The meeting ID was posted on the screen. My heart raced. This was my shot to see behind the curtain. On screen, I watched Jack pacing, phone in hand. His face was flushed, voice tense. Other executives sat around the table, eyes darting nervously. One of them spoke up. "What happens if Monica pulls out? She's 38% of our revenue." Another chimed in. "There's no plan B. We lose her. We lose everything." Jack slammed a folder on the table, cursing under his breath. "We need to fix this. Monica is threatening to cut us if we don't bring LyLye back." He spat my name like it was toxic. "This is blackmail." The CFO tried to maintain composure. "If we don't keep Monica happy, investors will panic. We'll all be in hot water." I needed a gasp. Their desperation was crystal clear. They had no leverage without me. Jack's face twisted. "Fine. We offer LyLye her old role back. Maybe even better. Just fix this quietly." I ended the Zoom call, heart hammering. I knew my next move. They'd come groveling. And I'd decide if I'd even let them. Sure enough, Jack summoned me to his office that afternoon. He tried on a friendly smile, but it wobbled. "LyLye, I've been thinking," he began, leaning back in his chair. "You've always been an asset here. How about we restore your title and get you back on track? No hard feelings." I blinked, keeping my face neutral. He shifted uncomfortably. "We can handle the details. Back pay, a bigger team. We just want you to feel valued." His voice dripped with forced sincerity. I knew he was desperate, but part of me wanted to throw his offer in his face. I took a breath. "I appreciate the apology," I said, "but I'm not coming back. I'm moving forward." His jaw tightened. The moment was tense, like he couldn't believe I'd refuse him. He tried one last angle. "Come on, LyLye, be reasonable. Monica's demanding it. Let's not burn bridges over personal feelings." I stared him down. "I'm not acting on emotion. You did that when you demoted me for being pregnant." Then I stood, calmly gathering my stuff. "I'm done here." He watched me leave, fury etched across his face. I could practically feel his world cracking. And for the first time in weeks, I felt free. The next morning, I walked into the senior team meeting with confidence. Jack was there, along with the CFO, Preston, and a few other executives. Tension rippled through the room as I handed over my formal resignation letter. Then I clicked send on an email I drafted to the entire senior management and attached the actual portfolio of my work. Every major project success was included, with timestamps, emails, and verifiable data. At the end, I wrote a brief note. "Thank you to Monica and all the clients who trusted me. I'm proud of the real wins we created together. I've decided to pursue new opportunities that respect my work and my upcoming journey into motherhood. LyLye Torres." I walked out without a word. Almost immediately, my phone buzzed with LinkedIn notifications. People were already resharing my post. "This is gold," one comment read. Another, "Respect for speaking truth." The post exploded with likes and supportive comments from other women in business. Jack stumbled out of the meeting room, face twisted with shock. I could see the fear in his eyes. My final act here was public, transparent, and all on record. Let him spin it however he wanted. The facts were now out there, and the world was watching. By noon, the company was in chaos. Monica officially announced she would not renew her contract, citing misalignment with company values. Within hours, 2 other clients followed suit, referencing leadership concerns in their public statements. Online, the story caught fire. The USB recording, somehow leaked anonymously, was shared across social media. People were outraged by how Jack mocked my pregnancy, calling me a PR risk. Comments raged with disgust at the blatant discrimination. Inside the firm, staff morale hit rock bottom. Jack's carefully polished image shattered. Investors demanded crisis meetings. Even lower-level employees shared stories of being bullied or undervalued. News outlets sniffed around, looking for interviews. I stayed quiet for now, letting the facts speak for themselves. Meanwhile, calls and texts from ex-colleagues poured in, full of support and apologies. Some admitted they wished they'd backed me up sooner. The avalanche was unstoppable. By the end of the day, I heard whispers that the board was launching an internal probe. HR's head, Natasha, resigned, citing stress and health reasons. Everyone knew the real reason. She'd been complicit. I watched it all unfold from home, where I could finally breathe. A new sense of peace filled me. Jack's empire was crumbling, and he had only himself to blame. The board's investigation escalated quickly. Leaked emails revealed Jack had personally instructed HR to push me out. Internal documents showed he'd strategized how to minimize LyLye's presence. Investors, seeing the negative press and loss of major contracts, demanded immediate action. Jack tried damage control with vague apologies, but the evidence was damning. Public opinion had already turned. Employees started posting anonymous stories about sexist remarks, secret firings, and toxic leadership. It was bigger than me now. It was a full-blown corporate scandal. Amid this chaos, I received a few messages from board members. They regretted the situation, hoping I'd be open to returning. I politely declined. I wanted no part in rebuilding a place that destroyed its own people. Meanwhile, Jack's personal brand fell apart. He'd once boasted about championing diversity. Now the media called him out for hypocritical leadership. He faced daily social media backlash, from angry mothers to business leaders. His investors publicly questioned his ability to run the firm. The name Jack Ripley became synonymous with pregnancy discrimination overnight. And through it all, I stayed calm, focusing on my next steps. The fight wasn't about petty revenge. It was about establishing what was right and building something far better for my future. During the chaos, I quietly began piecing together my own venture. It started with a simple LLC registration under Taurus & Co. I pulled together a loose business plan, focusing on ethical marketing strategies and a flexible work environment. Exactly the opposite of Jack's toxic domain. In the days after my resignation, I got messages from former coworkers. "Need a new place to work? We have some savings. Can we help you build something better?" Their trust surprised me. I realized I wasn't alone in craving a healthier work culture. I also reached out to friends in the industry. Their responses were enthusiastic. "We'd love to partner with you. I have a client in mind who hates corporate nonsense, and sign me up when you launch." As the dust settled, I met quietly with potential collaborators in coffee shops, drafting proposals, exchanging ideas. The energy was electric, fueled by a shared vision of respect and fairness. I kept everything low-key, not wanting to provoke Jack. He was already under siege from every angle. The last thing he'd suspect was that I'd build a competitor firm, one that stood for everything he tried to crush. Piece by piece, my new chapter took shape. And for the first time in months, I felt excitement replacing my anger. Word spread faster than I expected. A week after forming Taurus & Co., I received my first inquiry from a small but promising startup. They'd read about the scandal and wanted a marketing strategy from the pregnant woman who outsmarted a corporation, as they joked. I knew the real gold mine was in bigger clients, though. And I didn't plan on sabotage. I just made my services known. If companies wanted ethical leadership, if they wanted real results without the drama, I was ready. Some of Jack's mid-level clients started sniffing around. They'd say, "Hey, is it true you've launched your own firm?" Or, "We'd love to see your rates." I answered politely, never openly luring them away. But my track record spoke for itself. In the office halls I once walked, rumors swirled that I was poaching major accounts. Jack seethed, but he had no evidence of wrongdoing. I simply presented an honest alternative, and clients came knocking. Each new inquiry reminded me of my worth. I didn't need underhanded tactics. Clients wanted genuine partnership, and they recognized my brand for what it was. A real solution, led by someone who knew how to fight for her values. Then came the email that sealed everything. Monica Cho's official request for proposal. Simple, direct. "LyLye, I'd like Torres & Co. to handle my account. Let's talk specifics." When I read those words, I nearly cried with relief. Monica was no small-time client. She was massive. She'd been with my old firm for years, my main success story. Now, she was choosing me as her partner. I quickly arranged a video call. Monica's face lit up when she saw me. "I told your former boss I wouldn't renew without you," she said, smiling. "You created this success. I want the real deal." We talked details, hammered out a fair agreement. She insisted on flexible hours, understanding I'd be juggling a newborn in a few months. I agreed and promised her top-notch work. We laughed about how all this drama would make for an interesting client story in the future. Once the contract was signed, Monica posted on her LinkedIn, "Thrilled to partner with Torres & Co. for our upcoming campaigns." She tagged me, and social media buzzed. That was it. The official statement that set the industry on fire. Jack read it, I'm sure. The face he must have made? Priceless. A day after Monica's announcement, I got a late-night text from a friend. "You need to see this TikTok." A link followed. My curiosity piqued. I clicked. It showed Jack in a crowded cafe, yelling at his assistant. The shaky phone camera captured every word. "What do you mean we lost another client?" he bellowed, face red, coffee cup shaking in his hand. "I can't fix this if people keep jumping ship." Customers gawked, and the person filming wrote a caption, "Isn't that the CEO who demoted a pregnant exec?" Comments flooded in. "Karma, he's losing it. That's what discrimination gets you." My heart pounded with a strange mixture of satisfaction and pity. I never wanted him destroyed. I just wanted respect and fairness. But he'd brought this on himself. The video went viral within hours, exposing Jack as not just a sexist CEO but a toxic leader unraveling publicly. Even the local news picked it up. The firm's stock prices dipped and more employees quit. Watching Jack crumble felt surreal, but I reminded myself I wasn't celebrating his downfall. I was celebrating the justice behind it, and it reminded me why I fought back in the first place. 2 days later, I checked my inbox and found an email from Jack. Subject line, "Urgent, can we talk?" The message itself was dripping with desperation. "LyLye, I think we both acted emotionally. Let's have a conversation about how we can move forward. The situation has spiraled too far. We can come to an arrangement, personally or professionally. Let's be reasonable." I stared at the screen, my anger flaring momentarily, but then a sense of calm washed over me. I clicked reply, taking a breath before typing. "Jack, I didn't act emotionally. You did. I just acted. The time for negotiation has passed. I wish you the best as you deal with the consequences." "LyLye," I hit send, my heartbeat steady. I felt no fear, only closure. This was the final boundary I needed to set. Jack had tried to trap me in a corner, degrade me, and then rewrite history. Now he wanted to salvage his empire using the same person he cast aside? No thanks. I shut my laptop, a faint smile curling at my lips. Whatever chaos he faced next was no longer my concern. 3 weeks later, I stood on stage at a Women in Business conference. My baby bump was visible beneath my tailored dress, and for once I felt no shame, only pride. The room was packed with aspiring entrepreneurs, corporate leaders, and allies of workplace equity. Monica sat in the front row, smiling. The spotlight felt warm. I took a breath and began. I never thought I'd be speaking at a conference about empowerment, but life has a way of forcing us to stand up for what's right. I shared my journey, briefly, directly. No self-pity, just facts and lessons. I described how leadership was about lifting others, not tearing them down. how pregnancy wasn't a weakness, but a powerful motivator, and how quiet strength can sometimes speak louder than any title. I ended with a simple statement. Never let someone reduce your value because they fear your power. You owe it to yourself and those who look up to you to keep shining. Applause thundered. People stood, cheering, tears in a few eyes. Monica clapped the loudest, glowing with pride. Walking off stage, I felt a deep sense of peace. The man who tried to break me was gone from my life, and I stood tall, ready for whatever came next, having fought and won my own war for justice.